Welcome back to the What We're Watching podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jeni, and today we're talking about Lizzie McGuire, the TV show.
In this episode, we're going to talk about the first ever episode of Lizzie McGuire, so we're recapping the pilot, and we're also getting into some really fun stuff. We're talking about the reason why there were only 2 seasons of the show, which I can't believe, the beef between Hilary Duff and Lalaine, who played Miranda, and the canceled reboot that was supposed to happen in 2020.
I'm so excited to talk about this. We do have an episode on the Lizzie McGuire movie where we covered some of this, but there have been new updates since then. I think that was in the springtime when we covered that last year.
I loved this show growing up, did you?
So much.
It made me so happy to watch it again. Truly, I could have just kept going. I probably could have watched the whole first season.
Oh, I started another episode.
Okay, yeah. Exactly.
What I like about it is you can definitely go out of order with this show and just jump into a random episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Lizzie McGuire has a Halloween episode and some holiday episodes.
We have to do those.
Yes, it should be in our rotation for sure.
For sure. Oh, I would love to. Quick reminder to leave us a 5-star review if you're enjoying our podcast, and follow us on social media at What We're Watching Pod.
We love hearing from you guys.
Okay, I am so excited to read the logline for this show because it's so cute. It's like not that often that I feel like we get a logline or a synopsis that has a lot of personality, and this one does. Are you ready?
Okay, yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Enter the world of Lizzie McGuire at your own risk. A world where the 13-year-old and her best friends Miranda and Gordo ride the roller coaster existence of a middle schooler. Every day is a popularity contest, every class is a crisis, and on top of everything else, Lizzie has to deal with her annoying little brother Matt and a mom who means well despite her nosy tendencies. You always know what Lizzie is thinking, and if she can't quite say it, you can be sure her animated alter ego will.
That was adorable.
I know.
So cute.
So cute and so well written.
Something that struck me watching the show that I didn't remember from before is all of the weird 2000s editing that they do.
Yeah.
There are all of these like boing sound effects and quick cuts, and like it almost looks like somebody got a hold of iMovie, or I don't know, what's the equivalent of that?
No, definitely. iMovie is what I was thinking too. Because there will be transitions where it's like a slide to the next scene.
Yeah, or like it gets, the screen just gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's the next scene.
Yeah. And that combined with like the old music and Lizzie's style and the animated Lizzie McGuire, it's so time-stamped in the best way.
And there are so many reactions where it'll cut to a zoomed in person's face, and then there will be a scream in the background.
Yeah.
The editing is wild.
You're so right.
But it was really fun to watch.
Okay, let's get into the background of the show and all of the Hilary Lalaine drama. So the Lizzie McGuire show premiered in 2001, and I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the fact that this was such a cultural, like, reset milestone for all millennials, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
And it was recognized. It was Emmy nominated, and, of course, it won a Nick Kids' Choice Award. And most importantly, I think it completely skyrocketed Hilary Duff into stardom as a singer and an actress, and just an icon for us.
She honestly still is an icon. When I watch this, I'm like, that outfit is cute.
I know. And I love her social media. Just every time I see her, I just think I still want to be her.
Absolutely. I think we've talked about that before. I love Hilary Duff.
She feels more like accessible to me for some reason, like more relatable than other celebrities, and I don't know why. And I have nothing to base that off, just other than vibes.
I feel like she posts a lot on social media about her personal life, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, could be. So like I mentioned earlier, there are only 2 seasons of this show.
That makes no sense.
Which I cannot believe. It was, to be fair, on air from 2001 to 2004, and I assume that it came out weekly because that's how shows, came out at the time, at least when there were new episodes airing. So maybe that's why it felt like it was longer, because it came out over the course of 3 years, and that would have been a very pivotal 3 years for us.
And each season has like 30-something episodes, so 60-something episodes is a lot.
True. That's like 6 or 7 seasons of a TV show today.
Yeah, I guess that is a lot of episodes. The seasons part just doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. The show ended due to contract disputes, And I found some quotes from Hilary's mom, who was her manager, so her momager at the time. And it sounds like they asked for more money based on Hilary's, blooming stardom, and Disney wasn't willing to negotiate, which is interesting because they immediately did a movie after the show, and she is iconic, so I'm surprised because she's the lead, and I feel like normally that works, but I don't know what they asked for, so interesting.
Can you imagine if it was going on for like 2 more years or 3 more years?
I wish. I feel like it would have become like an Even Stevens. I'm assuming that was on for longer, but honestly, I don't know.
Do you think Even Stevens is more popular than Lizzie McGuire?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It felt like it was on for longer. Yeah, I cared about Lizzie far more, so maybe that's totally off base.
I don't know. But I also think they played the reruns for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I even remember at like 6 a.m. they would be playing Lizzie McGuire sometimes, and before school I could watch it.
Yeah. So one of the quotes I found from Hilary's mom, Susan, was where she told Entertainment Weekly, quote, "Disney thought they'd be able to bully us into accepting whatever offer they wanted to make, and they couldn't." So good for them, honestly.
Go off, momager.
Okay, now we got to talk about the Lalaine Hilary drama. So again, Lalaine is who played Miranda, and she left toward the end of season 2 to pursue other projects. So I wouldn't be surprised if this also contributed to the collapse of the show, because Lalaine left before the end of the season, so Disney would have known that. And then for Hilary to then ask for more money, I wouldn't be surprised if those things combined, maybe, are what made them just call it, as opposed to giving Hilary more money. So apparently, Lalaine and Hilary had a falling out, which was a big part of why she left. And everything online that I could find about their falling out was very much like, no, they are not still friends. Like, the people also ask section of Google, there were a lot of like, are they still friends? Did they make up? And everything was like, no. They never made up. They're not friends anymore. They had a falling out. And everything was like, it was all over a, quote, teenage girl drama. So I couldn't find the exact reason other than that makes me think it was just maybe something like, teenagers get in arguments. So maybe it was just something silly and they just moved on and didn't stay friends.
Interesting. Well, that reminds me of Hilary Duff's drama with Lindsay Lohan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, who is the common denominator here?
I know.
But I love Hilary. And honestly, how could there not be drama on something like this?
Totally.
I think there was drama on Hannah Montana.
Yeah, it's basically like their equivalent of high school. Like them fighting with co-stars. Those are the only other teenagers that they see all day, every day. So it's not that surprising.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So I did find a quote from the show's showrunner, Stan Rogow. I might be saying that wrong. He said, quote, "The two girls were literally best friends for 3/4 of the series, maybe more. And then they had a blow up that never got healed."
That makes me sad.
I know.
I wonder over what.
I don't know. I couldn't find anything. Just to put this in perspective with the timing, the Lizzie McGuire movie was actually filmed a few months after they wrapped the series. So they would have filmed both seasons. Lalaine would have stepped away from the show a few episodes before the end of the series, and then they filmed the movie. So it makes sense that Lalaine wasn't in the movie. I'm sure you guys will remember that's like a very notable thing about the Lizzie McGuire movie, the fact that like randomly Lizzie becomes friends with Kate.
Yeah, and we were like, where is Miranda?
Because Gordo is a boy and Miranda isn't there. Yeah. While they were filming the movie, and we did a whole deep dive episode on the Lizzie McGuire movie, so you guys can check that out if you want more background. But just so you guys know, while they were filming the movie, Lalaine was touring with Radio Disney and filming You Wish, which is another Disney Channel original movie.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Have you?
I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have.
I feel like I look at Disney Channel original movies a lot when we're trying to get ideas for what to cover on the podcast. And I was like, man, I think we should watch that one.
Mm-hmm. I know. I've seen the little cover for it so many times now, but I don't think I've ever actually seen the movie. You guys will have to let us know if you'd be interested in an episode.
Please do. We can get into it when we recap the pilot a little bit more. But did you notice that in this episode, this first episode, there were no introductions? You kind of just jumped right in.
True. That's true. You mean like to the characters? Like nobody was meeting for the first time? We didn't get any background on anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of weird because that's not typical for a pilot. So I Googled it, and it turns out that episode 4, called Pool Party, is the one that they filmed first.
Interesting.
So I started watching that episode, and you can tell that's supposed to be the pilot because Lizzie explains who her friends are, and her little animated character looks kind of different. It looks more like hand-drawn and kind of rough.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I think you should watch that one next because it was kind of cute. And I'm trying to think of what I learned from that episode about the characters. A lot of people remember this, but Kate used to be their friend until she started wearing a bra.
That makes this episode make a lot of sense also.
Yes.
We'll get into it.
Gordo has been Lizzie's best friend since they were babies, since they were 1.
Cute. I wish this was in the pilot.
I know. Those are the 2 main things that I learned that I took away.
I also can totally visualize animated Lizzie explaining all of this, being like, that's my best friend Gordo, and we've been best friends since we were babies, whatever. And it is interesting that it wasn't in this episode, so that's a good pickup.
I wonder why they chose the order of episodes. Maybe they just liked this pilot episode better for like setting the stage of the show, and so they switched it. There's another continuity error in season 2, I think, because everybody graduates middle school in the middle of the season, and then there are more episodes. And if you remember, the Lizzie McGuire movie is after middle school graduation. So technically that should be the last episode of the show, and then we go into the movie. But no.
Interesting. Oh, interesting. Weird.
I wonder if it's because at the time we didn't watch these in order. We just kind of jumped into it whenever we saw it on TV, so it didn't really matter when it aired.
Could be. Or even just every season would probably take so long to come out. Like it would come out over the course of months. And I believe most shows film an episode a couple of weeks before it actually comes out. I don't know if this one would have been a little bit more in advance because they do have the animation component. But I know that like for Shonda Rhimes shows, I believe they would film just a couple of weeks before they would like come out on air. So it could be that they were making changes while filming.
That stresses me out.
I know.
I can't imagine.
Okay, should we get into the cast?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about Hilary Duff, who plays Lizzie, of course.
I realized that we've done an episode on almost everything that she's been in. At least
so
a lot of
true.
the notable things, which makes me so, like, it's so bittersweet.
All of the people who recommended Casper Meets Wendy to us are screaming right now. They're like, no, you still have to do Casper.
We will, don't worry.
But we do have episodes on A Cinderella Story, Raise Your Voice, Cadet Kelly, and then more recently she was in How I Met Your Father, and I think she's in the show Younger, too.
I read that she's originally from Houston, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either, I don't think. She was 13 when she started Lizzie McGuire. She was such a baby.
She was such a tiny baby, but also she comes across so much older than that.
She's just very mature, I think.
Or maybe I'm just like, I looked up to her so much that I just can't shake that.
I 100% think it's that too, because even today when I'm watching it, I'm feeling the old feelings that I felt when I was a little kid. Like, oh, I want to be like Lizzie.
I want to do my hair like that. And I love her outfits.
Love.
Ugh.
I think I mentioned this in our Lizzie McGuire movie episode, but if you want to feel that same way about her again, but as an adult, you have to watch How I Met Your Father. It's a cute show. It only lasted like 1 season or maybe 2 seasons, I think, but it feels like Lizzie all grown up, in my opinion.
You talk so highly of that show every time the little poster comes up. When I'm like scrolling on my TV, I think about it, so I need to actually watch it.
It's such a casual watch and it's nothing intense. It's not the best show in the world, but I get the same cozy vibes that I get watching Lizzie McGuire. And it must just be because of Hilary, you know? She's married to the musician Matthew Coma, and they have a pretty interesting relationship, according to Instagram at least. He's always trolling people, I feel like.
I remember you saying this.
I always see him in the comments on other people's posts. Didn't he comment on some people from Love is Blind?
Oh my God, the Love is Blind people. You're right. Yeah, you're totally right. He did. I think he was trolling some of the Love is Blind cast like a few seasons ago.
Yeah, forgive us if we are just repeating what we've talked about in previous episodes, but we've talked about Hilary Duff so many times now that of course it had to come back up.
She's so fun to talk about. And like you said earlier, I love that she posts so often on social media. She almost gives influencer vibes on social media, but like in the best way. So she has 4 kids. The oldest is Luca, that's her son, who's from a previous relationship. And then she shares 3 daughters with Matthew, and their names, I love. Their names are Banks, May, and Towns.
Those are cute names.
I know. I think people were up in arms about Towns. I don't think people liked that.
Is that her newest baby?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cute.
I think so too. And this is new. I didn't know this before, but she's the chief brand director for a company called Below 60 Degrees, which is a plug-in diffuser and candle company that like uses only clean ingredients. So it's okay that the scents are in your air, you know? And it was so cute. She's all over the website. And it's giving like the Honest Company from Jessica Alba or like another celebrity brand. But it's interesting that she is the, quote, chief brand director, not the CEO, not the founder. That's what she calls herself, which I kind of respect because I feel like there's probably a team that's very experienced in this area running the company. And then she acts as kind of like the face and gets to make some decisions. So it's cool.
Interesting. Yeah, she's like the brand ambassador, but like the only one, you know?
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have Adam Lamberg, who plays Gordo.
He's originally from New York City, and his first acting job was at 7 years old when he was in an Amex commercial.
Cute.
Cute.
He was a cute kid.
He was really cute with his curly hair. Also, to me, looks older than 13. Maybe that's just... But then, like, them compared to, like, I know the Euphoria kids are in high school, but, like, worlds away from that. Like, they do look like true 13-year-olds. I think it's just, like, in my head, my perspective is twisted.
Nowadays, we're used to 26-year-olds being cast as high schoolers, and to see actual middle schoolers playing middle schoolers is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. I read that after Lizzie McGuire, he went to UC Berkeley, and now he does fundraising and special events consulting in New York.
Go, Gordo.
I know. He returned to normie life. I just love hearing about these child actors that just went, nope, not for me. Or they went back to school and decided they wanted to do something else. I think that's just really cool.
I bet that happens all the time, where people just dabble in a childhood hobby, or maybe their parents wanted them to do it, or it just so happens you get a role and you're like, yeah, I'll take that. And then afterwards you're like, okay, ready for new things.
Totally. Especially the kids that grow up in LA or New York. I'm sure that the scene is a little bit more accessible, and they might have parents that work in the industry. And so sort of like getting a taste and then being like, actually, that was just my kid thing. That was my like sport, you know?
It's funny though, the perception from the outside, because when you Google Adam Lamberg, I'm sure, or any of the other people in this cast, you get what happened to Adam Lamberg. And it's like, nothing happened. They just didn't stick with acting.
Mm-hmm. They just stepped away from the public, yeah. However, he was going to be in the reboot, which makes me so upset because that was going to be his big return to acting. And now it's not happening, which we're going to get into everything about the reboot soon, don't worry.
And I have new details about it too that I'm very excited to share.
Okay, great.
Okay, next we have Lalaine, who plays Miranda.
She is originally from Burbank, and obviously she's most known for Lizzie McGuire, but she also did a Disney Channel original movie called You Wish, which we mentioned. And she has actually continued acting since then, but she's mostly done small guest star TV roles on various shows kind of here and there.
Okay, that makes sense. I saw that she went on Christy Carlson Romano's podcast in 2019, and I was kind of surprised because I feel like usually when I Google her, because I have Googled her before, many times actually, I don't really find anything.
Yeah.
But she did do an interview, and she was wearing the plaid hat that Miranda often wears in the show. It's the same hat.
I can picture it perfectly. I'm sure you guys can too.
And that just made me feel good because especially after you mentioned the drama and then she wasn't in the movie, I was like, man, maybe she really is trying to distance herself from Disney Channel. But I don't think so, especially seeing that interview, even though that was many years ago now.
Yeah, it seems like it was really just the falling out with Hilary, because the fact that she immediately went from the Lizzie McGuire show, leaving early, and then did a Disney Channel original movie, did more shows, just makes me feel like there wasn't beef with Disney. There probably wasn't beef with her acting experience. She stayed in acting. It's just one of those things, one of those fallouts.
Yeah, it sucks. I did find out, though, that the cast did get together virtually in 2020, and they did a table read of the I Want a Bra episode, which is an iconic episode that maybe we should cover, too. And Lalaine joined to play Miranda.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, she did a table read with the whole cast, which makes me think she would have been down for a reboot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that means it has to be behind them somewhat if she's willing to get on a Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, let's touch on everybody else. What are they doing?
Okay, we definitely talked about this in our Lizzie McGuire movie episode, but I feel like we all need a refresher. And I have another cast member to talk about too. So first we have Ethan Kraft, who is Lizzie's crush on the TV show. I think we all know Ethan Kraft. He's played by Clayton Snyder, who is now a realtor and a water polo player. And he's married to Allegra Edwards from the show Upload. And they have a baby son together.
I love that. I love the show Upload.
I didn't know that you watched that show. I've watched a couple episodes. And then we have Byron Fox, who plays Danny Kessler. I didn't remember him. He was the first Ethan Kraft of the show. They called him the Brad Pitt of the school, and he was in only 3 episodes. And he, unfortunately, passed away in 2008 at age 22. I know, it's sad.
Wow, that is really sad.
Yeah. And then we have Matt, Lizzie's little brother, who's played by Jake Thomas. He's still acting, and he's also directing. He's very active on TikTok, by the way. Highly recommend watching his videos because they're really funny.
Oh my gosh, I have to go find him.
Yeah, he definitely leans into Lizzie McGuire. And, you know, we love someone who leans into an old role. He had a Lizzie McGuire podcast called Living Lizzie that he co-hosted with Davita Williams. And Davita Williams played Kate's best friend Claire in the show. She's actually in the pilot. But the podcast only had 12 episodes, and then they kind of left it.
I need to go listen to it. I love when people do this, when they just double down on their like childhood character. Like I'm thinking of Marnie from Halloween Town especially.
Mm-hmm.
We need a name for them, for this like club of people that are just like, hell yeah, that's what I'm known for. And I love it because it's like the opposite of like the Robert Pattinson, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if
like
I know
hating on your past projects.
Yeah, even a little bit of like Daniel Radcliffe. He doesn't really do that much, but there are definitely those kid actors that just, you know, want to move on, move forward, be known for other things.
No, we do need a name for it. I think we've had this exact conversation before, and we just haven't been able to come up with what this kind of actor is. So if you guys have any ideas, please let us know.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we can call them like part members of the Nostalgia Club.
Nostalgia Club.
Like the Babysitters Club, but then Nostalgia Club because they're stuck. That sounds negative, but it is good. Okay,
it's good.
We'll noodle on it.
I love it when they have their own merch, like Marnie from Halloween Town.
Doesn't she have an Etsy shop?
Yes.
Hell yeah. I love that.
And then finally, one of our favorites, we have Kate, played by Ashley Brilalt. I think she does a great job as Kate. She's just so snarky and perfect. She's now a lawyer and a mom, and she went to the University of Denver.
A fellow Denver girly.
I know, we want her to be our best friend, so.
Yeah. Shout out, Ashley Brilalt. Come on the pod.
All right, should we get into the episode?
Let's do it. Before we get into it, fun fact, a lot of shows just title their first episode pilot. So if you like go on Netflix or something, a lot of times the first episode of the first season just is called pilot. This one is called Rumors. So they gave it a cute name.
Maybe because it wasn't even supposed to be the pilot.
That was my exact thought when he said that. Okay, so this episode opens on a bunch of really cute handmade posters that are advertising cheerleading tryouts. They say things like, "Do you have what it takes to be a cheerleader?" And they're all, you know, it's like marker and glitter. It's really cute. And we see Lizzie reading the posters, and then her animated alter ego comes on screen and says, "I know what you're thinking. Me, Lizzie McGuire, a cheerleader? What's up with that? I mean, nothing could be more superficial, demeaning, and shallow."
I love animated Lizzie.
Me too. She's my favorite.
Then we cut to 2 cheerleaders gliding through the front door of the school, and they are so cool.
Yeah, I feel like when the girls walk in, it was giving like the Cullens from Twilight almost. Like the doors fly open behind them and all this light comes in behind them, so it looks like they're glowing. You can tell it's just like, ah. You know what I mean?
No, the editing in this show is so funny.
Uh-huh.
It's so good.
It's good.
And then animated Lizzie says, "But I hope I make it."
Then Lizzie tells her 2 best friends, Gordo and Miranda, that she's trying out, and they're not supportive. I think they're very surprised that she's interested in becoming a cheerleader, and they know it's not going to be her thing. But they go watch the tryouts anyway to support her.
Lizzie, poor thing, tries her very best during her tryout, but we can tell that the cheerleaders who are judging the tryouts are not impressed. It doesn't come naturally to her. And animated Lizzie says, "The only thing worse than my cheerleading was nothing."
Self-aware queen.
She is very self-aware in this whole episode.
She is. I think she tells her mom later, like, it's okay. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm a band geek.
Same.
I know.
Well, not you. You were
Not
a
me.
cheerleader.
I was a cheerleader, but I was also a theater geek. So, okay. Then we go to Lizzie's house and we see her dad clearing the dinner table, and he says, I never liked cheerleaders anyway. They were always so snooty, and you, Lizzie McGuire, are no snoot. And Lizzie acts like it's no big deal, but then animated Lizzie says this has cemented her social status as a nobody forever.
Lizzie's little brother, Matt, is taking care of his class lizard, and he plays with it and he calls it Ugly Little Lizzie. And this catches Lizzie's attention, of course, and she starts arguing with him.
After they argue, Lizzie heads upstairs to do her book report, but her mom takes her aside to make sure that she's okay, even though she didn't make the cheer squad. And her mom gives her this really cute pep talk, to tell her like why it doesn't matter that she didn't make the cheer squad. And she gives her the quote, top 10 reasons why Lizzie is perfect. And we see like animated Lizzie listing them out. I just love how supportive her parents are.
I love her parents.
It's really sweet. Me too.
That night, Lizzie instant messages Miranda on her computer, who tells her that Kate made cheerleader. Lizzie jokes that it's because Kate stuffs her bra, which makes sense with what we said earlier. They really, really hate on Kate for wearing a bra now.
Mm-hmm. Poor Kate.
I know, poor Kate. Although she's pretty mean.
She is evil.
Miranda's computer glitches and Lizzie's message gets sent out to the whole school. She ends up sending it to her entire list of contacts instead of responding to Lizzie like she was trying to.
At school, Kate confronts Lizzie and Miranda because she doesn't know which one of them sent the message, and Miranda ends up taking the fall and says that she's the one that sent it. And then afterwards, Lizzie is like, you didn't need to do that, even though Lizzie was clamming up and couldn't tell Kate that it was her. And Miranda says that she took the fall because Lizzie can't handle conflict. And this is the theme of the episode. Like every good Disney Channel show, I realized in this moment that there's going to be a lesson. And the lesson is going to center around this.
And honestly, I need this lesson.
Same. I am very conflict avoidant, and I related to Lizzie in this whole episode, big time.
Oh, yes. Me too. At home, Lizzie's parents realize that Matt's lizard has escaped, and so they're freaking out and they search the entire house, but they can't find her.
At school, Miranda hears that the cute boy, Danny Kessler, the one they're all obsessed with, again, this is the one that was the Ethan Kraft before Ethan Kraft got written into the show. Miranda learns that Danny Kessler wants to talk to her. And so Lizzie gives her a mint, and Miranda approaches him in the cafeteria. But then Danny says that he didn't actually ever say that he wanted to talk to her. It was just a prank from Kate's friend group.
Sad.
Wah.
When Matt gets home from school, he looks in the lizard's tank. His parents are trying to cover it because they don't want him to find out that the lizard is missing. But then when he finally gets to the tank, he sees the lizard sleeping, and Matt's parents thought that it was a stick. So this whole time they're running around the house looking for this lizard who is in the tank the whole time. But then Matt points out that she looks grayer than usual and cold. And so the lizard is dead. And Matt freaks out and says he'll never be able to show his face at school again because this is his class pet.
Then we're back at school. We see that Miranda has stuffed Kate's locker with tissues and a sign that says, in case you run out, to get back at her for faking that the boy liked her.
I love Miranda.
I know she's fearless. But then Kate prints out hundreds of posters that say Lost Dog answers to Miranda with Miranda's picture on them. This is all on the same day, okay? I can't believe it. They're so crafty and fast.
They are crafty. They are Ethan crafty, if you will. That night, Lizzie tosses and turns because she can't sleep, and she feels super guilty that Miranda took the blame.
At school the next day, Miranda puts green food coloring in Kate's hairspray. And during lunch, Lizzie tells Gordo that she feels like she's getting an ulcer because she's so stressed out about Miranda taking the fall for her. And Gordo says, so you don't like conflict? Big deal. I don't like broccoli, so I avoid it. That's all you're doing.
The dialogue in this show is so good. It really holds up.
It's really good.
Miranda joins them, and then Kate walks up to them with bright green hair. Miranda, who has, at the time, orange, kind of bleached tips, says, you know me. I'm a big fan of color. Welcome to the club.
I don't know why, to me, this moment was so Janice Ian, Regina George coded.
Oh, the whole back and forth is.
Mm-hmm. of Miranda just being like, whatever, like this sort of like cool alt artsy girl. And then Kate being like super uptight and being like, you dyed my hair green. And then Miranda just being like, whatever.
Yeah, it's like swapping the lotion for foot cream,
Totally.
but putting dye in the hairspray. Yep.
After this exchange, Lizzie feels like she's finally had enough and she needs to own up to what she did. So she goes up to Kate to confess, but she ends up just panicking and is like, nice manicure. And the shame that we see Lizzie feel when she doesn't say the thing that she wanted to say or like stand up for herself, I relate to this so much.
So much.
Like, we said this already. I just relate to her so much in this whole episode. And so like watching this little 13-year-old like find her courage and like learn how to stand up for herself was very sweet.
Do a lot of the episodes, do you remember if they kind of center around this social anxiety or conflict thing, even if there are different messages? Because it's kind of like in the movie. She's afraid of public speaking.
I feel like this must be a thread throughout the entire show because it is also in the movie.
Interesting. Okay, so Lizzie's family holds a funeral for Lizzie the lizard, and they're all wearing black, and everyone says a few words, and they're taking it very seriously. And Matt lowers Lizzie's shoebox into the ground with a toy crane, which I just feel like is so Matt because he always has inventions and stuff, and this is the first time we see one of them in the show.
You guys will remember from the Lizzie McGuire movie at the very beginning, he's like running this toy car around with a camera on it, and that's all I could think of when he was doing this. I was like, he loves gadgets.
He does.
Right after the funeral, Lizzie's mom tells Matt that they should rethink bringing home the class hamsters next month. And Matt says, are you kidding? I can't show up at school without Lizzie. And their dad reassures Matt that his classmates will understand, but Matt says, 2 weeks ago, Gina Marhoff accidentally stepped on the class centipede. She only sprained one of its legs. But Gina, after 2 days of torture, she asked to be moved to another class. Nobody's heard from her since. Rumor has it she fled the country. And this made me laugh so hard because I was just thinking, how many class animals do they have? They're talking about hamsters, they're talking about a centipede, they're talking about the lizard. Also, this entire episode, I was just waiting for Matt to say that they had to go to a pet store to buy a new lizard so that he could show his face at school again, and that never happened.
Oh, that would have been smart, though. Matt, at some point during all of this, is like, you remember to change the water, right? To his dad. And his dad's like, yeah. And then when Matt leaves, his dad says, I swear the manual didn't say a thing about changing the water. And their mom says, whatever, murderer.
I love the parents.
They're so funny.
Then Lizzie's mom goes to her room to check on her, and they have this very sweet heart-to-heart because she can tell that something is wrong, like Lizzie is sad about something. And her mom ends up telling her about the time that she backed her dad's car into a tree and let her sister take the blame. And she says ultimately she came clean and felt much better, and she encourages Lizzie to do the same. So this is like even more pressure on Lizzie to be like, I have to do what I know is right, even though it's scary.
Lizzie then practices admitting the truth to Kate with Matt, and then we cut to her actually standing in front of Kate, and she ends up chickening out again. So she sounded super strong and firm when she was practicing in front of Matt, but in front of Kate, she just folds completely. And she ends up saying, your shoes are untied. Kate calls her a freak, and Miranda stands up to her. Kate threatens to ruin Miranda at the pep rally.
At home, Lizzie's parents are rereading the lizard manual, I guess to see what they could have done wrong. And they learn that lizards hibernate, and sometimes they appear dead, but they're only sleeping. So they both panic at the same time, and they run out to the yard to dig up the lizard.
Matt looks at the lizard and says, she's really sleeping? They sleep like that? On their backs with their little legs in the air? And it's clear that Matt thinks his parents are crazy.
It's funny because Matt is so upset about the lizard being dead, and then as soon as his parents are like, no, I'm sure she's alive, look, they just hibernate. Matt is just like, okay, who's crazy here? You guys. Oh, it's funny. So then Lizzie goes up to Kate again right before the pep rally, but this time she does spit it out. She says, Miranda didn't do it, I did. And she admits to everything and she apologizes. And Miranda and Gordo are just watching behind her in shock. And Kate even says that she didn't think Lizzie had it in her to stand up to her. And then Lizzie asks if she's still going to ruin Miranda's life, and Kate says, of course not. That would be mean.
But then the cheerleaders do the UGLY chant. You know the one. UGLY, you ain't got no alibi.
Mm-hmm.
And they call Lizzie a big loser in front of everybody at the school. After the pep rally, everyone makes loser signs with their fingers at Lizzie. But Lizzie tells Miranda that she feels like a huge weight has been lifted. Then someone walks by to inform them of the school's newest gossip. Danny Kessler caught someone on tape picking their nose and eating it. Gordo congratulates Lizzie for becoming yesterday's news. The end.
Yay! There are these really cute bloopers that they show kind of alongside the credits at the end.
I forgot about these. I think they were in every episode.
I think so too, because it came flooding back to me as soon as they started coming up, because you guys know the song is playing, the credits are going, and they do these little bloopers. And for this episode, the bloopers included Matt making a bunch of funny faces at the camera, animated Lizzie falling off the edge of the sink, which I forgot that they always do bloopers with animated Lizzie too.
Mm-hmm.
And Lizzie's dad not being able to open the lizard box. So they're very cute.
I loved watching this. I would just keep watching all 60 of them. They were cute. They were fun. I found out that there were actually some spin-offs of the show that were planned after the 2 seasons were up, and they were both canceled, and I didn't know about them. There was going to be an animated series, but that never happened.
Oh, with animated Lizzie?
I imagine, and maybe the rest of her family was animated too.
Oh my gosh. I wish.
This one will blow your mind, though, if you didn't already know it. After the show was over, they made a pilot episode for a spinoff called Stevie Sanchez, which was about Miranda's little sister, who was played by Selena Gomez.
You guys can't see me, but my mouth is gaping. Oh, that would have been so cute. Oh my gosh, imagine the different trajectory of Selena Gomez, because I doubt she would have then done Wizards of Waverly Place on Disney Channel.
But she probably would have been famous for Stevie Sanchez anyway.
Stevie Sanchez.
And there was going to be a little animated Stevie, just like Lizzie.
Little animated baby Selena Gomez. Ah.
And I don't think Stevie exists in the show. I think they just made up the character, but I think it's really cute.
That's really cute.
Yeah, and Lalaine was also going to be in it. So I guess she wasn't done with Lizzie at all.
I wish I knew so much more about that falling out, because for Disney to, like, so seemingly from the outside so harshly be like, no, Hilary, we're not giving you any more money. We're not going to budge. But for Lalaine to leave season 2, like 6 episodes or something before the end of the season, and then get asked to do a Radio Disney tour, You Wish, a Disney Channel original movie, and be cast in this spin-off show, Disney must have loved her.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just interesting.
It is interesting. And I guess the reason why Stevie Sanchez never happened as a show was because Hannah Montana was chosen instead.
Fair.
If we couldn't have Hannah Montana, it wasn't worth it. But if both could coexist, that would have been great.
Agreed. And then we did get the coexistence, at least, of Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place. So it worked out.
True. Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about the reboot that was supposed to happen in 2020 of Lizzie McGuire. A grown-up Lizzie McGuire, I should say.
We've talked about this before, but Hilary said that Disney was doing a disservice to everyone by limiting the realities of a 30-year-old's journey to live under the ceiling of a PG rating. She said, quote, I want any reboot of Lizzie to be honest and authentic to who Lizzie would be today. It's what the character deserves. We can all take a moment to mourn the amazing woman she would have been and the adventures we would have taken with her. I'm very sad, but I promise everyone tried their best, and the stars just didn't align. So this is her explanation of why the reboot didn't happen. 2 episodes were actually already filmed, and a screenwriter for the reboot, Jonathan Hurwitz, revealed the whole storyline on TikTok. And I found that the script has been leaked.
Wow.
And I read it.
Of the first episode?
Yes, of the first episode.
Tell me everything.
I will tell you everything, and it lines up perfectly with what the screenwriter said.
Oh, this is going to make me so much more sad that it didn't come out. Okay, tell me.
Honestly, it reminded me a lot of How I Met Your Father.
Okay.
In vibe.
Okay.
So maybe we can pretend that that's Lizzie.
Sure. I will, actually.
Sure. And then we can talk about it, because I love that show. At first, when the script kind of popped up, there was no proof that it was legit because it actually showed up on eBay. Someone was selling it for like $80 or something like that.
Whoa. It should be so much more than that.
I know.
But also, whoa.
So I read it thinking it was a fake, but then it actually tracks, like I said, with exactly what we were told was going to happen by the writer. And then I looked on his TikTok and he actually confirmed that it is the same script that he has. And
Wow.
no, he did not leak it.
Wow. Wow, he really said it wasn't me, but that is real.
Can confirm I have that same file on my computer.
Wow. Also, just so you guys know, it is not always easy to find scripts.
No.
Like, scripts have to be specifically given to people. So a lot of times for like the acting classes or the writing classes that we've done, teachers will pull scripts like through contacts that they have in the industry, or people will like pool scripts together in different Google Drives and stuff that they've accumulated over the years. So people have scripts for references for classes and just, for learning. So it is kind of a big deal for a script to get leaked. A lot of times if you Google scripts and you find them easily on the internet, a lot of times those are actually just transcripts of the movie. So like, when you see subtitles, somebody has just written those into a PDF, not the actual script. So this is exciting.
Yeah, super exciting. Although it makes me laugh that somebody decided to put this on eBay, and that's
on eBay for $80. Like, as if that was worth it, because I'm sure they probably had to sign an NDA saying that they weren't going to release the information.
Sell it for $1,000.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny.
So I'll walk you through it. The first episode was called Elizabeth McGuire.
Elizabeth McGuire. Oh, I'm going to cry. Okay.
Yes, and she's been going by Elizabeth ever since college, I think, or after college.
Since college.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
It takes place in New York, and she's the assistant to an interior designer, but she has dreams of, like, becoming a big interior designer herself. She's about to turn 30, and she's dating a guy named Emmett, who's a chef and a restaurant owner. And then she ends up quitting her job on her 30th birthday and gets a text from Gordo, who she only hears from on birthdays, but every year on each other's birthday, they'll like text each other. And he made her a video with a bunch of photos of them when they were kids. It's like a slideshow.
Oh my God, she's our age. I just realized that.
Yes, I'm about to turn 30.
Oh my God. I immediately love it. I already love it. I love it. I love it. The job is perfect for her. I love that she's living in New York. More than anything, I think I love that she's an assistant and like still building her career at age 30 and like still has all these dreams of things that she's going to do at age 30.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that a lot. Like the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 13 going on 30, she was 30. Never mind. But a lot of times when we see those women, even if they are 30, and oftentimes they're younger, they already write the hottest column. They're already the editor of the magazine,
They're 22 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very, I think, hard to put yourself in their shoes. Whereas the idea of this makes me really happy that this was the idea.
I think it would have been really easy for them to be like, yeah, Lizzie is super successful living in New York and has all these friends. But it would have been boring and it wouldn't have felt realistic,
Mm-hmm.
Then on her birthday, she finds her best friend Bianca's earring in her and Emmett's bed.
No.
Yes. She ends up hauling the entire mattress to the curb, which is rash, but I like it. And then Bianca and Emmett are supposed to be throwing her a surprise party. And at the surprise party, she tells them that she knows. And it turns out that Emmett was planning to propose to her tonight,
My God.
despite being a cheater.
And it being her birthday. Rude.
Yes, I know. And then he ends up proposing to her anyway in the middle of her surprise party, even though he just got caught cheating with her best friend.
But like in front of people so that she would feel pressured to say yes.
And she just goes, I know somebody who likes shiny things because of her friend's earring in the bed. So that's that.
Wow, Lizzie did learn how to do conflict.
She did. And then her
Wow.
family calls her in the Uber on the way home and they sing happy birthday. And Matt sings happy birthday, Your Royal Highness.
My God, grown-up Matt.
He's still the same. And then she flies home to her childhood home and animated Lizzie is there waiting for her.
Stop it.
And that's the end.
I cannot actually put into words how badly I want to watch this show.
I know.
Oh, that makes me
But
upset.
I felt good having that script because I'm like, okay, they filmed that already and I can picture all of it. And I feel like it would have been really good.
Mm-hmm.
But at least we know.
It makes me appreciate so much how like mature Hilary was in her statement of being like, this was my choice. This is why it didn't work out. This was really important to me to be able to do this in an authentic way. And everybody really tried their hardest to make it happen. And then she just left it at that. And that's very mature, I think, to not, be super upset, even though I'm sure she was.
And I feel like episode 1 wasn't super risque or anything. There was nothing crazy in it. Although episode 3 gets a little spicy. So we can get into it really quickly. In the second episode, now that she's back home in her hometown, she meets back up with Gordo and with Ethan Kraft. Gordo's fiance is pregnant with their first child.
Cute.
And the episode ends with Ethan texting Lizzie to meet up. And then episode 3 starts with Lizzie waking up in Ethan's bed.
Yes. Yes. I need this show. Why doesn't Disney know that the people watching this show are the 30-year-olds? The people watching the reboot.
It's not going to be 12-year-olds.
No.
They don't know who Lizzie McGuire is. They don't care about watching a 30-year-old on screen.
Yeah.
You know?
Flash up a warning at the beginning of episode 3 if you don't want people to watch it with their toddlers around,
And what will they even think? Nothing. Because when you're a kid, you don't think anything about that. So that's obviously where Disney drew the line, I think, and why it didn't get made. But it's sad.
Disney has the Avengers on Disney+.
I'll never understand, truly.
And Star Wars and many other, violent things.
And Nickelodeon did it with iCarly. They aged her up and they made it kind of inappropriate. And it was good, I thought. So
tragic.
Very tragic.
I just can feel how good it was going to be. I'm sad. I just love Hilary Duff also, so.
I know, me too.
Wow. Thank you so much for reading the script and telling us about it.
Of course. I couldn't help it.
I know.
I saw it and I was like, oop, I'm getting my grubby little fingers on this script. I did not pay $80, by the way. I was about to say,
did you buy it?
I am the only person who ever bought it. And it was a scam.
That's the reveal. And here it is.
If anybody does want to read the script, just search Lizzie McGuire reboot script online and you should be able to find it.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it and follow us on social media at What We're Watching Pod.
I would love to know what you guys think about the reboot and about just the show in general. And if there are any other episodes that you remember from Lizzie McGuire that you really want us to cover, I would love to talk about it again.
Absolutely. We will definitely be doing more episodes. Just which ones? That's the question. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.